Hello GDQ, my name is TheHellfridge, and I'm gonna show you a game that's called Frogun Encore. You may remember a couple of years ago you had the predecessor to this game called Frogun, played by Trader. Back then I was on commentary, and this time I would love to show you the sequel slash standalone extension improvement. It's a wonderful game about having a gun that is also a frog. Before I start the game, I want to explain this is the any person category. The run is about like 25 to 30 minutes, depending on luck. It's going to be much faster than the first Frogun game, which is wonderful. I'm going to explain more later. And the first trick I'm going to explain right now because it's just going to start. One big difference between Frogun and Encore is that there's the so-called sling jump, which is like 1 out of 2 very important tricks, which means you can sling towards a wall or like a surface, and then you can jump, and it's just going to be a very fast, very far jump. The second important thing before I start is I will never run Frogun or a Frogun Encore without wearing this frog hat that my girlfriend made for me back when I started running the first Frogun. So I'm gonna put this on, and then I'm gonna start the run and explain stuff along the way. I don't have a script. I think that would not be authentic if I applied with anything scripted. But I know this game a bit, so that's going to be good. So we're going to start in 3, 2, 1, go! There's a speedrun mode, we're going to skip the story. There's an evil fly, and the evil fly is trying to resurrect the evil fly from the first game, and that's the story. So we're going to start with this sling jump over here. So we're going to fail this first sling jump over here. This is live. I mean, this is not live, I'm recording this, but basically this move here is the most important thing in this game. It allows us to go incredibly fast. However, we're having some starting hiccups, which is fine, frankly. I haven't played this game in a week. The reason for that is that I am an adult. That's gonna be my excuse for all the failings of this run. There was a cutscene there, but you can easily just skip that by mashing the start button. And that was level 1, 16 seconds, that's very fine. There's a total of 20 levels in this game, and the second level is gonna show us the second most important trick in this game. And this trick is called Safety Pot. It's called Safety Pot because there may or may not be a wheat reference here. I will not disclose that. However, what is wonderful about this trick is I can do this. So usually, you're not supposed to be able to like latch onto light objects like enemies or pots. However, if you re-grab the pot at the exact right moment, it kind of weirdly acts as if it was a wall. I don't know why. The dev decided to keep it in. It makes insane jumps possible, and it's gonna be a hallmark of this entire run. It's wonderful. So we're gonna see safety pot and sling jumps like all across this game. What's wonderful about Frogun Encore compared to the first one is there's basically no downtime. What was sort of lamentable about the first Frogun, another safety pot, is that if you fail to jump, it usually costs a lot of time. And then you would have to slowly walk back to where you used to be. But here it's just like there's one trick after another. It just like doesn't stop. Like every level has at least like one very hard, very scary jump. Every time I'm over thin air, I'm at the risk of dying in this game. And yeah, it's fun. It's wonderful. Like one thing I will say a lot during this run is coming up is one of the hardest tricks in the game, especially in the second half. Like the first 10 levels are fine, but after that everything changes. I will be very tense, it'll be hilarious, I will fail a lot, and that's fine. I'm an adult now, I can deal with hardships. And this is the second to last level. I'm taking this checkpoint because sometimes stuff goes wrong in the silliest places, and that was like an impromptu presentation of that. What you just saw, what's important for jumping and sling jumps, you can shoot the Frogun twice in the air, basically. However, if you do like a sling jump from the ground, and then you're on the ground, you do the sling jump, and then you go into the air, you still have those two shots. So basically, you can do a total of 3 sling jumps before you have to touch ground again. So this is level 5. Every 5th level is a boss level. And in the first Frogun game, the bosses were basically extended cutscenes. In the second one, they're a bit trickier. They all have some amount of RNG, and they have health bars. So it actually is like a bit of a more skillful situation. I missed one of those projectiles, which is not bad. I will explain why in a bit. So, at the beginning of this fight, and at the beginning of every fight, I will change the aiming in this game from auto to from non-auto to auto aiming. The reason is that it's really, really, really hard to consistently grab and hit with these projectiles. So it's just easier to just go into auto-aiming mode at the beginning of the fight and switch it back afterwards, because then the hits are basically free. And the reason it wasn't so bad that I missed that one shot is that I have to hit this boss a total of 20 times, and every time this boss produces these rocks, he's producing 6 of them. So I'm gonna do 6, and there's gonna be 12, and then 18. So as long as I don't hit miss more than 5, I'm still gonna beat this boss on the same cycle. So that's not such a bad thing. Anyway, this is the final attack, and this first boss is also like definitely the easiest. And if you can, you try to like end the fight in the middle of the arena, so you just immediately stand on the emblem if it arrives. So that was World 1. World 1 is still very smooth sailing. And World 2 is also kind of nice to us still. I'm switching the aiming back to disable auto aiming. It's faster to do on the overworld map than it is to do within the level, because there's fewer inputs to do. And the levels, like, if everything goes right, the levels in World 2 are gonna go by very, very, very fast. I think they are probably the shortest levels in the run are all the levels in World 2. So we have 12 seconds. I think there isn't a single level that's gonna be longer than a minute outside of the boss levels. So everything in this game is like... Let me explain it like this. I can let my daughter play this game because there's a lot of very wonderful and very helpful level architecture to help, like, normal people who do not play frog games for the majority of their life. But there's all of these tools to let you just zoom past everything. So the dev really learned the right lessons from the first game, like, if you ask me, to be like, make it accessible for a lot of people, but also design the levels in a way that people like me can just go wild with it. So coming up is a very cool trick. There to the right you see the Skull Zone, which is a feature from the first Frogun game. The skulls are a collectible, and usually you're supposed to take a teleporter to get there. However, you can also like enter the Skull Zone from the outside and just use the back teleporter to make progress in the level, which is a lot faster than using the normal route. And I'm pretty sure that this Skull Zone was placed there specifically for speedrunners, because it's basically the only Skull Zone that can be used in this way. There's like no other level where you can use the Skull Zone like that. In other levels, the Skull Zones are super far away from the main level. You look at the camera, you look with the camera on, you're like, nah, you're not even in a dream. And since we used to do this kind of shenanigans all the time in the first game, I think the dev knew that we were gonna do this. So, coming up is a really cool trick. I'm gonna use the D-pad. The D-pad is incredibly powerful in this game because it allows for way more precise inputs, and I can do this. And I can do it again, just to show it off again, because that's a really cool trick. So I let myself fall there, pretty much on purpose, just so I can show it again. If I use the stick for that, it's a bit imprecise, and there's a good chance that I will just destroy the blue pots that I used for slinging. And we don't want that. But if I just like briefly tap the D-pad, I can make that jump almost every time. There's a couple of places where the D-pad is coming in handy, just because it just gives very precise 8-directional or short inputs, and sometimes that's just what you want. Now I'm like walking here. This has never happened before, so I just thought I would stay on it. And just like that, we're at the second boss. My relationship with this boss has changed significantly over my time playing this game. We only have to hit him 15 times, however there's a lot of randomness involved. Like, there's these bombs. It's random where these bombs are being shot. They have to bump against walls a specific amount of time before they become grabbable. And also it's kind of random how many he shoots. Can be 2, can be 3. And similarly, this attack here can either be done with 2 or 3 bombs. Of course, we want to have 3 bombs because then we have more projectiles to attack the boss. However, the RNG in these boss fights is really the bane of this game. Like, if you want to successfully run this game competitively, you're gonna need to have some amount of boss luck. I can explain by going briefly into the world record, which, as you like, I'm currently the world record holder with like 20 minutes and 15 seconds. Is that the world record? Should it be fewer? Anyway, I don't know. I thought it was fewer, but I don't care. The world record is like a deathless run, but it was only like a couple of seconds faster than the boss, than the world record before that. And the reason is the final boss. Like, there is, if you're unlucky, you are gonna lose 40 seconds on the final boss, and there's nothing you can do about it. Like, even if you do everything right, it's just a thing that can happen. Anyway, we're coming up to World 3, and World 3 is where everything becomes insane. So we used to go this way. We went there very swaggily. We took this pot, went to the green gem over there, and then we took this whole route there. But then we took this enemy, and we figured, hey, why take long way if if short way is faster? However, I failed this one, which is fine. I will practice, I promise. I'm really good at this game normally, but right now I may be a bit nervous. There we go. This is how it's supposed to go. And then we're just immediately at the final level. Anyway, coming up is one of the hardest tricks in the game, as with every level in this world. World 3 is probably my favorite, but it's also where the run becomes real. This is where it's decided whether you have a good run or a bad run, because everything is just so precise and tricky and difficult. So right here, we're gonna just like skip everything. So this is the level where you almost like never touch the ground. If you do it perfectly, there's like no touching of the ground. And I'm very happy that this worked on the first try. Another thing that is very powerful in this game is slopes. You just saw me grabbing onto the roof and using the slidey speed to basically move from roof to roof and just cover a lot of distance without like even considering going anywhere near the normal route. So I may have made it look easy, but that was very hard. Also, like, coming up is one of the most difficult parts of this entire run, which is this level, This first jump is kind of finicky because there's like no 100% consistent setup for it. So it takes a lot of practice and a lot of like feel for the distance, like where this enemy there is. But that worked nicely. And now we have a checkpoint, so if anything else goes wrong, we're gonna be fine. However, coming up is one of the hardest tricks in the game, which was recently discovered by Mrs. Giza Maluk, who's an IL runner. I'm sorry for that noise. That was very loud. But sometimes I have a lot of feelings. What can I say? I'm very happy that this final trick worked so nicely. It's super difficult. If you mess it up, just lose time. You know how it goes. But anyway, we're coming up to level 3, 4. And it's also like one of the hardest tricks in the game. But seriously now, like this is the point where I decide for myself if this run is flying or not, basically. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use these like little wooden poles there in the back to just mess things up. So I'm standing here now, it's very comfortable, and now comes the hard part. That was the hard part. I'm gonna make it even swaggier. Maybe I have to redo it. I don't care. But so if this run if this run makes it into GDQ, which would be wonderful, I will do every risky and swaggy strategy at least once just to show it off, because there's so much cool shit. I will not say curses. I said a curse, but this is a private video, so it's fine. So usually I would go over here just to be safe, but we can also do this. And I'm so happy. I was very happy that that worked first try, and I only died after I got the checkpoint. So yeah, as you see, like World 3 is full of very, very difficult tricks. I know I'm making them look easier than they are, but it's precise and finicky and wonderful, and you should also play this game, by the way. This is the portion where I'm gonna shill this game, because it definitely deserves more love. It's like 13 bucks. It's a wonderful platformer. Tell your friends, dear GDQ approvee people, tell your friends about this game. It's wonderful. It's probably like one of my favorite 3D indie platformers that nobody else plays. It's got a very unique feel to it. Anyway, this boss is special because it's basically the only boss that you can play consistently the same way every time if you don't mess up. In the beginning there's 3 projectiles, now there's another 3 projectiles, then the boss is gonna come close and do a cool pose, and then there's gonna be 3 more projectiles, and I'm gonna hit him with them, and then I'm gonna get punched, or not, and then there's 3 more projectiles, and that is phase 1 of this fight. If I miss one projectile, it will mess up the sequence, but if I hit everything, this is just basically an auto-scroller. It's also like just a super cool boss design. I mean, who doesn't love a good mech? Now he's gonna use the fist, then he's gonna use the fist again, then he's gonna use the fist again, then he's gonna think a bit, and use the fist again. He's gonna do like a little twirly twirl, another twirly twirl, another twirly twirl, and use the fist again, and maybe use the fist again. It's a very good strategy on the boss's part, I gotta say. And we're almost done here. We're moving to the middle. We're taking this fist, evade once more, twice more, thrice more, and there we go. That was Mechcaster, the penultimate boss of this game. The only one that's basically consistent if you do it the same every time. Beyond that, there's no RNG if you manage to do it. And coming up, one of the hardest games in this trick. One of the hardest tricks in this game. Basically everything in World 4 is there to kill us now. Now, if you have a good run, now you're tense, you made it past all of the hard tricks. So it's time for more, even harder tricks. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use that slope over there to do swaggy things. Nice.
Hey.
So now we're gonna blindly take one of these bats to make it up here. And now we see a seesaw. Seesaws are fun, right? And the funny thing is, if you go to one side, you can actually slide off the other side, like this, and die. I just wanted to show you again how you die, because I feel like I've been doing these tricks a bit too successfully. So I just wanted to show you that you can absolutely fail these tricks if you haven't practiced them a lot. But yeah, this is a very risky thing to do. I will absolutely do it in a marathon run. I will do all the tricks in a marathon run at least once, because they're just so much fun and it doesn't take much time to get back to those sections. The good thing is that now comes one of the hardest tricks in the game. Now, I'm lying now. Now I'm just doing a bit. This is not such a hard level, I'm saying now. But there are iffy death zones here, so I'm gonna carefully aim. So I made this jump, that's wonderful. But coming up is one of my favorite jumps in this game, because this game is like designed to let me do things. Because you can use the architecture to get anywhere. Normally you can't do like a double jump or a sling with an item in your hand, but you can just take the arch here. You just take the arch. It's fine. And back there, that's where the goal is. And we're just gonna make this super long jump. As you just saw, it's super useful that we can sling twice in the air, because it allows for some like minor adjustments. Like if you fail a shot, you often have a second chance if you manage to play it safely. Anyway, coming up. It's not one of the hardest tricks in the game. It's like everything in World 4 is hard. Not as hard as World 3, but just given that you're probably tense at this point, it does make it a bit iffy. Excuse me. So here I'm gonna try to do swaggy. Ah! Here I try to do swaggy things again that are like unnecessary.
Hey.
I'm gonna do it again. That went perfectly. That's a very, very tricky jump, and what you have not seen me do yet is fail one of the safety pod jumps. If you sling too early, you just re-grab the pod and it's fine, you can try again. But if you grab too late, the pod is gone. And in that specific section, you only have 2 tries. There's 2 pods, and there's no other things close by. And if you fail it twice, then you have to basically restart. So, coming up is seriously one of the hardest tricks in the game. I'm gonna use the D-pad almost for the entire first half of this level, because there's a big wall, and usually you're supposed to do like switches and puzzles, but we're not gonna bother with that. We're just gonna get to the top of this, and now we're gonna do a seriously tricky thing, and I'm gonna use the D-pad for precise inputs. That was a fail, but I'm gonna do it again because it's such a cool trick. It's probably the hardest jump. Let's say the second to hardest jump, because we're coming up on the final level here. So we're gonna do it again. Nope. And over the fence. Wonderful. And that way we skip this big wall. Usually there's a number of switches here that you have to push, but luckily this game is made for very cool, very swaggy speedrunning, and I love everything about it. And yeah, just like that, we're almost at the final level of this game, which is the longest level. This is not gonna be a world record anymore. I'm already like half a minute over my PB. And this level is gonna be like 3 minutes up to 4 minutes, depending on how luck goes. Also, it's got one of the hardest tricks in the entire game. So you can imagine how tense it is to like try and PB in this game, but if it works, it's super, super cool. So here goes nothing. Hardest trick in the game. Boom! That went perfectly. I'm so happy. I'm so happy that this trick exists. But I'm gonna take that checkpoint here. Because I know myself, I sometimes do silly things by accident, and I don't want to do that and have to do all of that again. Like in the marathon, I will like not take that shortcut, that checkpoint, just so I have to do the hard trick again. But here for this audition, I will absolutely take that checkpoint. Anyway, this is it. Here we are at the final boss. The final boss is the hardest boss, just by merit of how long it takes to beat him. And also there's like very, very silly and sad RNG involved in this. And I'm gonna explain why. This boss you have to hit 30 times. The boss enters the final phase after 25 hits. So far, so good. There is an attack that the boss does, and once it comes, I will explain what the problem is. There's the laser eye, and this laser eye has the potential to spawn between 4 and 6 rocks. Now we got 4. That's bad. Because if you don't get enough rocks, it's just gonna extend the fight by around 40 seconds, and there's nothing you can do about it. Over the course of the run, if you don't miss any projectiles, he's gonna use the laser eye attack twice. And if you get 4 rocks both times, then you're just losing 40 seconds. If you get 5 rocks at least once... Oh my god, what? I have no idea what happened there. If you get 5 rocks at least once, then you're golden, and it's gonna be a fast fight, and everything is cool. But I also like missed 2 projectiles already, which however also doesn't factor in too much, because maths. I could explain it to you now, but I'm too focused on the fight. I will learn the maths behind this better, so I can explain it. Also, things that can happen. The rocket just bumped into the boss, which made the rocket explode, and I couldn't use it as a projectile. That's bad. So in this fight, you have to micromanage a lot of stuff. You have to like kind of manipulate the position of the boss just so you don't accidentally destroy your projectiles, mess up patterns, and so forth. I have not counted the amount of hits, but we're now in the final phase. If these pillars come a second time and they're super fast, that means we're in the final phase. And it also means that I have to focus a bit. No, oh no, it's not the final phase. I'm missing a hit. That's bad now. Now the boss takes longer. I mean, it's good. It would be good in a run for charity. But, of course, if you want to do fast time, that's bad. So, basically, we only need to hit the boss once more. But before the final attack, there's more pillars. And time is usually when the results screen, the final result screen, disappears. So, final attack, you can do all of these. You don't have to. You can hit him even though he's still connected to the pillars. And that's the final boss. That's Beelzebub. That's Frogun Encore, any percent. It's a wonderful game that everybody and anybody who likes classic 3D platformers should play. It's almost entirely made by one person. It's one of my favorite indie games. It's the platformer that was somehow made for me. There's like, that's the niche that I live in. Games where you have a gun that's also a frog. Yeah, GDQ. I would love to be part of the show. I'll probably not be able to attend in person, but I heard that AGDQ has a couple of slots for online runs, and I would love to be one of those. I hope you enjoyed this run. I will practice the hell out of this. My current goal is to get like the sub 20, because the sub 20 is possible if the final boss cooperates. And yeah, I hope whoever is watching and verifying this has a wonderful day. And yeah, bye bye.